This is Beyond the Green Screen, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.
Welcome to Beyond the Green Screen, the podcast of our Arizona's Family First Alert Weather Team. I'm meteorologist April Warnicki, and today my guest is, to my knowledge, the first person on this podcast to be a repeat visitor. We have a repeat guest here. We have Arizona-based storm chaser and photographer Mike Olbinski. Not only are you our first, I think, repeat guest, but you were the very first guest interviewed last year by Chief Meteorologist Royal Norman. Welcome back.
Thank you. That's an honor. I can't believe it.
It's a big deal to have you
It is
here.
a very big deal.
Well, I invited you here today to talk about the new blockbuster movie Twisters. And I'm just going to say right now to our listeners that if you have not seen Twisters yet, go see the movie, bookmark this podcast, then go see the movie, then come back, because I do not think that there's a way that we can talk about this movie without a bajillion spoiler alerts.
Oh, good. I was actually wondering how I was going to get by without ruining the movie. So.
There's no way. There's no way.
Good.
There's so much to see, to talk about with this movie. I saw it last Friday night, and I just loved the movie. How about you?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. And I saw the trailer when it first came out, and I said, that's going to be so bad.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't seen a weather movie since Twister that has really blown my socks off or anything. They've all been pretty bad.
Yeah,
so
well, we have like Sharknado, and what else do we have out there?
Well, and at least Sharknado is supposed to be bad, you know, but there was like Into the Storm and all these other ones. And I mean,
Perfect Storm was good.
Perfect Storm was fine. Yeah. Oh, I don't remember if I saw that one.
Yeah,
But yeah, I was just a little bit hesitant, but seeing it, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic summer flick and great action and a lot of fun.
Yeah. So one of my favorite things about the movie was the scenery, just these epic shots, not just of the storms, but just that part of the country. Now, you chase in both Arizona and in portions of the Midwest and the plains, and what was going through your mind watching that?
Well, I thought it captured it perfectly. I mean, I remember seeing the original Twister and thinking the weather was ridiculously unrealistic, but they got a little bit of the culture correct. And this one felt kind of the same. I mean, they all have this big, my favorite part almost was the big gas station convergence with all the chasers at the gas station. That happens all the time. When it's a big chase day and there's one gas station nearby the target area, you see everybody, there's people like doing selfies with, and so that really captured it. But all the land, I mean, I know from listening to interviews, they drove around Oklahoma and Kansas and were filming I mean, a lot of it just looked like what I see when I'm out there. It's crazy.
How did your chases go this year?
Oh, it was great. I mean, I saw a bunch of tornadoes. I think I chased about 30 plus days. Got probably my best tornado time lapse.
Really?
Closest. I was a quarter of a mile away watching a tornado cross the road in front of me, standing in the road with hail falling, trying to get the perfect photo down the middle of the road. And it was fantastic.
So let's talk about that with the movie. You talked about being that far away from it.
Right.
You are, to clarify, you are never driving into a tornado.
No one should drive into a tornado.
Let's make that clear. I think people know that, but let's just put that out there, and we'll add to that. Don't shoot fireworks into a tornado either.
Yeah, I don't know how that works. Definitely some unrealistic things in the movie. Especially driving into a tornado. I don't think you have to warn too many people to not drive into a tornado unless they've watched this movie and they're like, well, that looks safe. I guess I'll do that. No, don't do that. But most people run away from tornadoes, so I don't worry about it too much.
And it's probably better for, your purposes, getting those perfect shots, to be a little distanced.
Yeah, I mean, for me, going in there doesn't serve me any purpose. Even the great time lapse I got, I was about a half mile to 3/4 of a mile away from it. Even then, it's raining, and then sometimes there's hail falling, and it gets on your camera lens, and even that's almost too close.
Wow.
But sometimes the wind cooperates, and it's at your back or whatever. But sometimes in the moment, especially for that tornado, this was Holly, Texas, which is north of Abilene, and for that one, it was slow moving. You knew where it was, so it wasn't dangerous, and it's like I just wanted to kind of just creep closer. I wanted to get a little get one of those shots people get, but that like quarter mile or so was about close enough for me.
And you get a sense for where this tornado is going typically, not just that, but any tornado. And so you don't typically feel too much danger, correct?
No, it's funny because you feel less danger once it's on the ground than before, because if you're not quite sure maybe where it's going to drop, I don't know. I'm not just always sitting underneath a wall cloud watching it swirl above me, hoping it doesn't drop on top of me like other people do. So I don't worry about that too much. But once it's on the ground, and if it's a day where it's not going to be like there's 2 of them dropping, or it's going to be a 3-mile wedge, like it's not that scary. They can do some deviant motions, which we've seen a lot of lately, where they're moving southeast and suddenly they swirl to the northeast and kind of catch people off guard.
Yeah.
And that part's a little scary, and I think it's a little worse probably more at night. So
well,
for me,
that's true.
I don't usually get in that bear's cage area where that can happen to me. I'm generally like a little bit in a safer spot.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear.
Not the people in the movie, though.
No. And I was going to ask you, what's the most in danger you've ever felt? But I'm guessing it might be related to lightning and not a tornado.
Yes, for sure, lightning. Even this year and last year in South Texas, bunch of us shooting. We had a tornado that was practically in Mexico on the South Texas border. We're watching it over a barbed wire fence. There's no roads out there. It's just, border wall at some point. And we had a monster tornado spinning. And all around us was lightning dropping within 50 feet, a mile, like in all directions, all around us, and just storm chasers lined up on barbed wire fence shooting this thing. And I'm sitting in the back of my 4Runner like, y'all crazy.
Yeah.
And I had some Nat Geo Canon guys following me and my own tour guests, and I'm like, this is incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
And so that's when I have definitely felt scared.
Interesting. So you've mentioned the number of storm chasers out there. That is certainly something that has changed since not just the last couple of years, but since the original Twister movie came out. You had storm chasers. I wasn't in the time I was going into college, but anyway,
I wasn't
watched
either.
But from my understanding, you had weather researchers and some weather, people who are just passionate about weather out there.
Yep.
But now it is a scene.
Yeah.
You think they kind of got that right in the movie?
Yes, they for sure did. It is. I mean, when the guy pulls up, Glenn Powell pulls up in his like cowboy kind of thing, and he's like throwing shirts around. Some of that might be a little far fetched, but there are, there's the Stormfront Freaks podcast guys that are amazing, and they'll pull up and they're not like rock star kind of thing, but they'll hand out like swag, like some sunglasses. I've seen them do that, so that's fun. But like when Reed Timmer's the biggest storm chaser out there. He has the Dominator vehicle.
Right.
When he pulls up to a gas station and there's a bunch of chasers around, it is very, very similar to that. People want to go up to him and get a selfie. They want to get a selfie with the car. It's just like that.
Yeah, and social media has changed that as well.
Social media has changed it. I would say probably also the advances in modeling for being able to predict where storms are going to be, because I mean, I was waiting around just last night for maybe 1 a.m. storms, and they popped up because the models kept showing storms at 1 a.m. and sure enough, they happen. So sometimes it's almost too easy to go, hey, there's going to be a storm firing in Garden City, Kansas. At 2 o'clock, and you show up at 2 and a storm fires. And so it's like, if you learn how to look at that, it can be easy. So there's a lot of advancements in technology and model data that has made it easier for people to learn it and go out and end up in the same place as people who have been doing it for like 2 decades.
Absolutely. So you were up all last night storm chasing right here in Arizona.
Yeah.
We don't have as many supercell thunderstorms here in Arizona, but how does storm chasing compare here in Arizona to the other areas?
I mean, storm chasing here, you can find a supercell every now and then if you know what to look for and get lucky. But it's more about landscapes and mountains and lightning here. I mean, there's actually a guy from France with his girlfriend out here for like 3 or 4 weeks just to shoot lightning for the company that they work for. So people come out here mostly for, beautiful skies, the monsoon sunsets, we get the color, but getting that with great lightning strikes and cactus and all that makes it, it's a different thing. And it's weird because I chased for 30 plus days chasing supercells and tornadoes and big hail and big color and like all this stuff. And I drive right home from Denver, and there's already storms going on, like around Flagstaff. And I'm just as excited to watch a downburst come down over the like high plains east of Flag. And I'm just excited for that. So for me, it's just kind of like all of it's exciting, but it's very different. Less dangerous out here, other than the flash flooding and the lightning. Out there, I mean, you're worried about big hail, you're worried about lightning, you're worried about road network, fast-moving storms getting caught and stuff. It's definitely like a higher level adrenaline and wanting to be prepared for anything dangerous.
I'm sure we have had several deaths in the last couple of years in the storm chasing community, not in Arizona, in the Plain States.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so you can see how it's getting a little more congested.
Yep.
Let's talk about some of the, I guess, other unrealistic things. You mentioned how, the modeling is getting better. And so we have a pretty good idea of days that are going to be particularly active.
Right.
In this rodeo scene, they're sitting there and this tornado just seems to form and no one is prepared at all. So you have the fact that they're rushing to help people in Oklahoma figure out what to do in a tornado. And I'm seeing this movie with our producer, Hunter, who's from Oklahoma. And I'm like, this can't be real. He's like, no, everybody knows what to do in Oklahoma.
Yes.
And then there would have been a watch, if not a warning.
Well, and honestly, like that was, I mean, I guess there's a couple parts that you kind of were like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
But that was one of them in terms of I'm sitting there watching these two people going, they're storm chasers.
Mm-hmm.
They would have been on their phone the whole time and seen the storm coming.
Exactly.
So that part, and their phone would have alerted it. And the first thing they would have done is they like, that's weird.
Yeah.
And all they did was stand up and look around instead of anybody else would have pulled up their phone to look at them, go, oh my gosh, there's like a couplet coming at us. Like, so that part, definitely they dramatized that to turn it into like a kind of chaotic scene. I mean, I know that there are places, I think this year the high risk day in Oklahoma was kind of a bust until at night, and there was this tornado that went through. They get warnings. We know that they do that. A lot of people out there, social media, whatever, want to be like, we had no warning and stuff, and it's like, well, you had a warning all day
you
to
did.
be prepared.
You knew.
But there are times when something does happen at night and people are,
sleeping.
They're at a rodeo. They're not. I mean, there was that concert hailstorm in Boulder.
Red Rocks.
Red Rocks.
Yeah.
That they really didn't have much warning. People were running for their lives from like big hail falling. So we know that some of that stuff can happen.
True.
But
probably not during what they kept saying in the movie was a tornado outbreak. They kept having news clips and meteorologists saying our outbreak continues. So why are you sitting at a rodeo?
The only thing I could think
not
about was
looking
that
at your radar?
it was that those two characters were googly eyeing each other and were just not paying attention to their phone because it was almost like a little bit pseudo first date kind of thing almost.
True.
And so that's the only excuse I can give them because I don't. That part I'm like, they should look at their phones. That's what I would do.
They were distracted by love.
Yes.
I get it. I actually appreciate it. Again, spoiler. I appreciate that they never really got together in the movie.
Yeah.
Because it just was kind of nice. I mean, you have this great action movie that isn't terribly violent.
No.
You have this love story kind of going along, but it's not about them ever making out or getting together.
No. They don't even kiss at the end. And Gina was like, my wife Gina, we watched it together. She's like, I can't believe they didn't have him kiss at the end.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And I don't know. I saw something on Instagram, like a behind the scenes video where they were kissing. And so I don't know if that people are like, are they together in real life? And that's what they were doing? Or do they just think, let's not do that?
They need a sequel.
They need probably. No, but I actually really liked it. It was funny because I went into the movie. I had seen one weird article like 3 weeks before that said something about Twisters is under fire for being sexist. Kind of out of nowhere, and I was like, saw some quotes about, it's another movie where the female lead is scared and the man has to.
Oh, interesting.
So, it was just interesting out of nowhere, and so then I kind of went in there going like, okay, what are they gonna do? And then I watch it and I'm like, wow, this is like so much the opposite that it's actually amazing because I love that aspect of it, especially because I have a daughter and she's almost 16. Just that this woman in this movie. She had like a real fear. It wasn't like, I'm afraid of storms. It was like she had people die. She had PTSD and she got over it herself and overcame it. And the Glenn Powell says something like, if you fear it, ride it, and so he's got his little.
If you feel it, chase it, I think it is.
Yeah, there's two of them. There's like, if you feel it, chase it. But remember at the rodeo, he was like, if you fear it, ride it. Because he said he used to ride bulls because he's like, if you're afraid. So he's got two great quotes. I'm pretty sure that someone named their fantasy football team, if you feel it, trade it or something. Anyway, he's going everywhere. But
it might be Royal Norman.
Yeah,
he's texted me that quote many times that he loved it too.
It's a great quote. I mean, and that kind of stuff actually makes a movie like that more of a cult movie because it's, the original Twister, it's always like, it's going green. That's what Bill Paxton said. That's a famous quote. So if you feel it, chase it, But I love that storyline because she kind of overcame it. She was like the hero of it where the guys were kind of like back while she, drove into the tornado with the unrealistic polymer solution. But I did read an article not too long ago about that part.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
And it seems to be the consensus is that could work at a much larger scale,
Yeah.
but this is too small of something.
Yeah,
I've had several people asking me, like, could that actually work?
Yeah, I think if it could work, they would have figured out how to do that by now. But
Yeah.
I mean, if they would have had a smaller tornado and done it, it could have been a little more realistic. But this was obviously a monster tornado. That little amount of anything is going to do nothing.
Yeah.
You know, but.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that brings up, there is a need for more weather research. We don't know everything there is to know about cloud physics and weather and meteorology in general. And so, I think people are always surprised to know that we can't tell you exactly where a thunderstorm is going to pop up in the valley. We can tell you today is an active day and we're likely to see them, but you can't say where. And same with tornadoes. You need to, there's so much room to grow in this field. And so I'm sure you've heard of this after the movie in the 90s, in 1996, the Twister effect, where they had double to triple enrollment at meteorology schools from people who had seen the movie and then had an interest, and not just right after, but in the years. And I think many of them were actually women inspired by the Helen Hunt character.
Well, they're going to be even more inspired now, I would think, from this movie. And that's great. I mean, we need more people in there learning, researching, and figuring out how to at least predict them. I don't know that we can stop it. I don't know how you stop that stuff.
No.
But to predict them. I mean, that day I mentioned the high risk day in Oklahoma. Like, it's the National Weather Service, the Storm Prediction Center. Everybody's like, today could be really bad. And we all get out there, and there were just like a couple of maybe like tornadoes that kind of didn't do much and didn't last very long. And the day turned out to be kind of a bust. And it's like, in terms of, it was supposed to be like a tornado outbreak. It's high risk. That happens once or twice a year, maybe, that you get the high risk.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was more like a slight risk, enhanced risk. And so even the experts get confused by certain things. And so there's so much more we can learn.
In the movie, Kate sometimes gets a little cue from Mother Nature where she notices the wind changing direction. Do you ever have anything happen to you out there like that, or you get some kind of gut feeling and change your course?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes there is a little bit of, I think this storm is done. We need to drop to this other one. There's stuff like that, but there's not a lot of
Go blow
stand there and blow it, let it go and go, oh, this is going to be great. I will say that the last couple of years I've really honed a little bit more of being able to look at maybe a developing wall cloud and be able to kind of see the rain curtain start spinning. And if I'm with people, I'll be like, this is about to do it.
Yeah.
If it's about to do it, it's about to do it now. And then all of a sudden seeing like a funnel form and a tornado drop after you've kind of predicted it's going to happen. There is something a little bit with that's kind of fun. But I've also been around people who are like, I can feel it. Like feel the dew point and feel the wind. Like, this is a tornado day, and then it doesn't happen. And so it's so hard.
Anything else you can think of that you think this movie got right or wrong that we haven't talked about?
I definitely want to touch on the special effects because the tornado CGI, however they did it, was incredible. Like, I have no one has ever gotten a tornado to look realistic to me in a movie. Like, they all look. I mean, and Twister was so long ago.
Yeah.
But even the other ones I've seen since then have not been good. This one, it looks so real. I thought a lot of them, except for maybe the last one, it did have some aspects where it was so thick it looked volcanic at one point. Yeah. But all the other ones I thought were great. Like, I think they somehow merged it with real footage on the ground where you could see dirt spinning and stuff. And with the CGI, whatever they did, it was fantastic. And that was kind of my favorite part because it didn't feel like they're chasing unrealistic CGI. Yeah. It actually felt real.
Yeah. Well, and that, you're someone who would know that and who would notice that. Some of your videos and time lapses of supercell thunderstorms have been used in major movies.
Yeah, probably I think up to like 6 now, except not Twisters. So that's
how did you not get in this movie, Mike?
There's actually the Supercell movie that came out with Alec Baldwin, who I actually talked to the director and writer of it, and he went with my friend Pecos Hank, who I love. They went with his footage more because it was more realistic, and mine's time lapse. So I didn't get footage in Supercell, which I was like, come on, it's called Supercell. And then Twisters, I didn't get anything, but Pecos didn't either. So that's that's a little ego thing where it's like, oh, I wanted something in Twisters so bad.
Okay, the sequel, everyone. Mike Olbinski needs to be in the sequel here.
That would be great.
Did you see Storm Chasers you knew in this movie? Because they use a few real Storm Chasers?
My friend Jason Harris is in the scene at the gas station.
Okay.
I didn't recognize him at first till he posted a still. I'm like, oh yeah, duh, that was you. So I think there were a few people in there that I knew, but in the middle of the movie, I was like, I'm just looking at Glenn Powell.
Yeah. We all were just looking at Glenn Powell.
I know, he's just like, he's so like with the cowboy thing and everything. He's just like everybody's drawn to him anyway in the movie. So I was not looking at the extras really to see my friend Jason, but I felt bad.
He'll forgive you.
Yeah, probably.
Do you still take tours out either in Arizona or in the Plains?
Yeah, in Arizona, I kind of do them a little different now, where it's more kind of flex, where I tell people, hey, come in if you want to set aside some time, come in town. And then they pick like 4 or 5 days, and then I'll say, well, yeah, this day looks good and this day looks good, but it's not like we're going out when there's no storms and they're paying money for that.
Yeah.
But the ones on the plains, this year I did 4 or 5 tours, and we took a film crew from China that has a YouTube channel. We took them chasing for a week.
Awesome.
And with like unbelievably expensive gear and sponsored by Nike or something. And so that was, we got them on a couple of, not the tornadoes they wanted. They wanted to be on tornadoes out of Twisters, not kind of the dusty stuff we got, but it was still fun. So keep doing all that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
For people who have an interest in doing this, either in weather or storm chasing, I mean, I usually tell people the first step would be to take a storm spotter class. They're typically free. They're from the National Weather Service.
Yep.
You really get to know weather. It's a really good introduction to weather, specifically Arizona weather, wherever you might need that. But do you have any advice for people who might want to do what you do?
Yeah, I mean, I think the storm spotter class is a great idea. In fact, that over the last like 10 years, they've taken photos and footage and time-lapse stuff from me and other chasers to put in those to even better explain what people are looking at so you can understand. But so I think that's good to get a good knowledge of weather, a base knowledge. But then if you want to do it, go take, especially tornadoes, supercells, go do a tour. You don't have to go with me, but there's tons of companies that go out there that, especially like some of them excel at getting closer to tornadoes. Some are more photography related like me. But it's a good way to go out and learn what it's like. And I've seen a few friends of mine come do a tour with me 1 year, maybe a second year, move to freaking Colorado, and then they do it all on their own now. So that's
interesting.
The best, safest way to kind of really learn how to do it, I think, because it's dangerous.
Don't start on your own.
No, I mean, if you think you know what you're doing, I mean, I started on my own, so I don't want to tell people not to do that, but it took me 4 years to really even understand maybe what I was doing, after, going out 3 or 4 days a year. So if you do that on your own, it's going to take longer than maybe if you go with someone who can really kind of explain what's going on and show you the ropes so you can understand quicker. But I don't recommend it, but I know that's what I did. So it's one of those things. Someone says, don't go to college. I didn't go to college, but you should go to college.
Right. Do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly.
Well, how can people find out more information about your tours or follow along? Because that's one of the benefits of social media now is that we all get to go along on your chases and even your just overnights that you're staying up all night in Phoenix chasing the storms. We all can see that beauty.
Yeah. So you just look at my name, Mike Olbinski, on Twitter, Threads. I have a Patreon page where, it costs money because it's one of these like, I have some friends that do it, and it's kind of a way to support an artist, but I do a lot of, I almost use it as a personal blog, posting targets, where I think I'm going to chase, and all this kind of stuff, sneak peeks of new time-lapse films and things that other people haven't seen. And then, YouTube is where I post, a lot of the videos and the chases, and that's been really fun. In fact, it was really fun this year that Tucson got that bad microburst with the tornado warnings, and I was right underneath it. And so I got some great footage of just hail smashing the car and stuff on the road. And that post kind of blew up more than my regular ones because people lived there and they were kind of excited to see what happened from a storm chaser's view. So I think YouTube is a good thing to look at too.
And that's another benefit too that storm chasers and photographers can bring to scientists and the National Weather Service. They love to get your eye there on the scene, on the storm, and then to use your work afterwards to kind of dissect those storms.
Yeah, I mean, I think all that stuff is great. Being able to kind of see what happened. I've had meteorologists go chasing with me that never storm chase and just kind of did it from the office or whatever, and then they go out and understand, wow, this is what it actually looks like when I'm, on TV saying there's a severe thunderstorm warning or something like that. But yeah, I think that's all really important. And then also real time ground reporting where, obviously I've been doing this for a long time. National Weather Service Phoenix knows me. I don't know how many times I've been like, hey, there's low visibility here, dust is coming in, and then all of a sudden my phone goes off with a dust
With a
storm
warning,
warning.
yeah. Like,
and I'm like,
"That's my
hey, I
warning."
helped that do that. But
Yeah.
but I do think that they can't see that stuff.
No.
And there's a lot of, we all know like central Arizona around Eloy, Casa Grande, it's a little bit of a radar gap. I mean, there's one there that apparently we still can't use, but that would be really nice. But
Yeah. I
but
think I think it is now.
Is it?
But just recently. Yeah.
it needs to be on radar scope
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
But there are places where they can't necessarily see. So I think ground truth and reporting is great. And one last thing has been great this year is how many, some people we ran across on the planes that were like, hey, you're a storm chaser. Like, what's going on? Do I need to be worried? Like our local station in Midland, they don't talk about storms very much. So we don't always know for some reason.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised. I'm like, you live in South Texas where there's like
Yeah.
big hail all the time. And she's like, we love seeing you guys because you guys, warn us and stuff like that. And that felt good because a lot of times storm chasers will get a bad rap for clogging roads and all this stuff.
Well,
and
true.
and
Shooting fireworks and
shooting fireworks and
I almost
That
fell
was pretty
out of
funny,
my
though.
movie theater
Yeah.
when that happened.
yeah, I know.
What are you doing?
I know.
Please, nobody copy that. Do that. Gosh.
Someone's gonna try.
Oh gosh, I hope not. I hope not. How many times have you seen the movie? Just once?
Oh, just once.
Okay.
When you're got 3 kids and stuff, we had to go see Deadpool, so I'm not gonna go see a movie a bunch of times. But that was really, we saw it in IMAX and got invited to kind of see it, and so that was real exciting.
Yeah, I might have to go see it again.
Yeah,
I've only
see
seen
it in
once,
IMAX
too.
though.
Yeah,
I do
okay.
think big screen, big sound really makes it. I mean, it's definitely like a summer blockbuster movie where you kind of do have to toss out some of the unrealism,
kind of suspend
your
disbelief,
disbelief
for
a little
bit.
bit. I do. I really think a lot of it was real,
Yeah.
and felt real. But you got to just go in there going, man, this is like an action movie in a way, and I don't know, it was really fun.
Yeah, I really loved it. Well, thanks so much for being here.
Yeah.
Our,
Thanks for having me. It was
first
great.
ever second-time guest.
Yay.
Maybe we'll get you back for a third time sometime. And we're putting it out there. Mike Olbinski in the third Twisters installment when it comes out.
That would be great.
Gotta
Thanks.
use your work. All right. Thanks for joining us here on the Beyond the Green Screen First Alert podcast.
This is Beyond the Green Screen, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast.